Hey, this is Vinny. With me is KY, and this is Two on the Vine. How you doing, KY?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I've been busy playing a lot of video games. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, playing a lot of games myself as well, and very busy with work. Looking forward to E3. E3, it's like Christmas, every year. Even though it's getting less and less relevant.
It kind of is, especially
Yeah.
with the way people look, Fallout 4, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. That was announced on YouTube
Hmm.
pretty much. Like we saw the video on YouTube. Nintendo has their Nintendo Direct. Companies don't really save their big announcements for E3. Maybe a few, like a
Yeah.
few announcements, but it's not as big as it was like 10 years ago.
No, definitely not. I mean, if they have like a console to announce, which they've been there's been rumblings about the Nintendo NX. You've heard about that, right?
Hmm.
Which Nintendo Next is probably what it's going to be called.
New Nintendo Next,
The
new.
new, yeah, the NX is actually new. It's not next. It's
Jesus.
Nintendo New Experience. The
And
new.
then we just never buy Nintendo consoles again after that.
I think if they launched a console with new in it, I would be. Well, shit, they did.
They,
I
they
was about to
did.
say I don't think I would buy it, and then I realized they actually did that, and
It's
you own
already
it.
too late.
Yeah,
I do own it.
you own it. They got to you, but it does have a nice little nip, and that is something that a lot of controllers are missing. Just a little something to play with.
Yeah, and speaking of playing with controllers, there's the Steam box announcement as well as the in-depth look at the Steam controller,
Yep.
which we'll also be talking about today,
Hmm.
and just kind of how this controller is different from what we've been seeing for the past 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, I used at least a prototype of the controller at PAX 2014 when I demoed Mugenics, and I liked it back then. And I think from the look of it, the controller fixes a lot of things. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So I saw my first UFO the other day, and
Now, this is not real. This is video games and not real life.
no, in real life, as I
You
was
saw
driving
real
home.
life.
Yeah, an object in the sky that I have no explanation for my perception of this object and how it behaved. I went through my mind, I raced through my thoughts, and could not think of any explanation for this thing. And you, being an avid UFO seeker, is that correct?
Oh, well, I can't say I've specifically sought them out. Like not in the sky, however, in the books.
Right. Like
Definitely have read a lot of books.
you're an enthusiast on the topic, is what I'm
I
saying.
think it's a fascinating topic, and I always enjoy reading about it. Yeah, so I love to hear this. And you mentioned this earlier, but you said I'll tell you later. And I was like, okay, all right. So I'm excited. What exactly happened?
Okay. So
Allow me to use my expertise to be able to not solve this mystery.
all right. So I was driving home from work, which involves a really slow traffic crawl at one specific point. And eventually I get to this point and I look up in the sky, and maybe like it looks like 2-ish miles away, hard to tell. There was just what kind of looked like an airplane. I couldn't tell because I wasn't close enough yet. But I thought it was really strange because the airplane wasn't moving. Like I didn't see it moving left or right. Didn't seem to be getting further away or closer to me. It was just seemed to just be hanging there. And I thought that's a little weird. And then I kept driving, thinking that it would, it would become obvious which direction is moving. Still not moving. As I get closer, I start to make out the shape, and it's definitely just sitting there. Like there's no way this thing was moving, as far as I could
Okay.
tell. And the shape of it looked less and less like a plane as I got closer. It started to resemble kind of a rectangle. Like imagine a giant rectangle with a line going diagonally from one corner to the opposite corner, with one half being kind of black metallic-ish and the other half being like a white or a light gray matte. Just kind of this weird rectangle divided from corner to corner, floating. Like seriously floating. Like that's the weird. I can't describe this sensation that I got looking at this thing and trying to figure out its like location and if it was actually moving or not. But it seemed to just be like floating, and it didn't look
But it
like
was
a plane.
close enough that you could see these details,
Yep.
but not close enough that you weren't sure if it was moving. So it was a moderate distance away, but
Well,
Were there other drivers on the road? Like,
yeah, there were. I mean, it was a busy highway, like I said. No one was pulling over and getting out of their car to look at it or anything because it was far enough away that would be silly. But I guarantee you there were other drivers that were looking at this thing, being like, "What the fuck is that thing?"
yeah,
And
sure.
I even Googled it as because you can find depositories of UFO sightings with dates. And that night I didn't find any, and the next morning I didn't find any that matched mine. But I haven't checked in a while because this was some weeks ago. I meant to tell you the last podcast and I totally forgot. But as I got closer, it's starting to really come into view. But I need to. The highway starts to curve off to the left, and the trees obscure it. I come out on the other side of the trees, and I should be able to see it again, but it's gone.
Wow. So
So
so total time that you got to look at this thing was how long?
about 10 minutes. Like,
It was
because
so. Wait a minute. So you were really like you were driving, and this was in your view for like 10 minutes. Were you getting closer to it? Was it
yep.
noticeably getting a little bit bigger?
Well, yeah, because when I was really far away, I could have sworn it was just an airplane.
Oh, okay. So it
But
really you approached this thing pretty nicely then.
right, like it looked like an airplane that was just floating there, and I was like, "That's really weird. That plane does not look like it's moving." And then it got closer. I realized it was kind of more rectangular. Had kind of a weird boxy design on the bottom, or not the bottom, but because it was like you're looking at it from an angle and it's floating above you, but
Uh-huh.
bottomish of it. And I'm just staring at it, trying to figure out what the hell it was. And eventually, the trees obscure it. I come out on the other side of the trees after going around this bank in the highway, really slow bank, and on the other side, just nothing. It was gone already. I mean, I almost as I got the closest I could get to it, I was really tempted to just take the exit off the highway and try to track it. I really should have done that. That would have been fun. But the thing is, it was a long day. I just wanted to get home.
Yeah, of course. And
But
if you didn't see it after a little while, I mean, you probably would have been better off just not trying to chase it anyway. So I get why you kept moving.
yeah,
But that's interesting. Any other little details that you can remember or no?
no, I mean I pretty much told you all that there was. Like I said, the weirdest part about it was how it seemed to be literally floating. So I figured it might have been the top of like a tower with a really thin base or something. But like it got really clear that it was just floating there. There wasn't anything supporting it that I could tell. There weren't any buildings around. It was just out in the open as if it were flying, I guess.
Well,
But
my
not moving. So
interesting. I've heard reports of hovering objects that look like planes from people locally, actually, where I live, and that's not something that's new to me. I have no idea, why there's so many of those particular situations that it looks like a hovering plane at first. But I can tell you definitively what you saw.
yeah.
It was swamp gas from Venus.
Shit.
Now, you might not know this, but swamp gas can travel a long way from Venus and starts to kind of form into this rectangular metallic form.
Oh.
And you saw that, but of course, because of the trajectory that you were coming home,
Right.
there was an illusion that was bouncing off of Neptune and Jupiter.
Yeah.
And there was also probably a solar flare. So,
It-
yeah.
It seems so obvious now. Like, how did I? Well, thank you so much for clearing
don't
this
worry
up
about
for
it.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, either that or it was just Venus. And, Venus is
Just
usually...
Venus itself floating there above the highway, chilling
Sure.
out.
Well, what I just gave you was the rhetoric that a lot of people get about these kinds of things anyway. So,
Right.
I mean, you would have heard that if, say, this was the 1960s and you had seen a UFO and you went to the Air Force, that was swamp gas or Venus or a solar flare, or like a shooting star or something. But the thing is, what you saw is obviously unexplainable, so it's a UFO. Now, if you could explain it, maybe it was a drone. It
Right.
could have been some form of drone. It could have been
Easily.
some weird helicopter. Are there any Air Force bases near you?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, not like major ones that I know by name off the top of my head, but I mean, they're everywhere, right?
Then there's never, yeah, I mean, there's never not a chance. That's
It was-
double negative.
It wasn't small. I'll put it that way. If it was a drone, we are talking at least the size of a plane.
Yeah, that's
Like-
that's nuts.
Because if it was small, first off, I wouldn't have seen it from that far away. Or I wouldn't have seen it so clearly from that far away. And as I got closer, it would have become, I don't know, it would have been a lot more apparent, but it definitely wasn't small. Like, it wasn't the size of a standard drone anyway. It could have been a balloon, a weather balloon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's another one, the weather balloon thing.
Yeah.
It could have been, but weather balloons are usually, to my reckoning, not square or
They're
rectangular.
or metallic.
They can be. Well, they claim the Roswell crash was metallic, so. But
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I think you found yourself something very, very strange and interesting. I've always said that the best thing to do is rule out everything else. Then you can call it a UFO, which is still not the same as aliens.
Right. Yeah, because it's a UFO. It's unidentified. Yeah. That's all it is. I couldn't identify it, so it remains a UFO.
And therefore, now you can let that sit in your mind for the rest of your life and never get an answer. And it'll just be like, wow, maybe that was, well, who knows what that was.
I think when I recount this story to my grandchildren, if I ever have them, I'm going to call it the New England Monolith. I think that's
right.
That's the title. That's what it's called now, the New England Monolith. It was a giant monolith in the sky that floated for about 10 minutes outside the Boston area, rectangular, just one half black, one half metallic, disappeared unexplainably. Everyone became smarter.
Well, I'd rather call it the Boston the Boston Domino.
The Boston Dominoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, interesting story, but I will recount, there's a story that you should look up called the Phoenix Lights. It was in the city of Phoenix. There was a triangular, like, totally black ship that thousands of people in Phoenix had seen. And it's a hugely recounted story. There was a weird kind of denial that went on, but there's some weird pictures of it, and it blocked out the stars, and it just kind of hovered and went really slow at some points. And there's a lot of really interesting stories to look up in regards to UFOs, and that one's a good one. So you know what? You've seen a better UFO than I ever have.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sad that I haven't seen it.
Well, the New England Monolith shall visit you someday and bestow upon you much wonder.
The dankest of the nuggies
wondrous
will be bestowed
wisdom
upon me.
Yep, indeed. So let's do some listeners' mail.
Sure.
All right. So a bunch of people wrote in because we talked about blue cheese last podcast. It's so funny how we talk about these things and I don't remember it. The only reason I remember we talked about blue cheese is because I got a whole bunch of emails. What?
Blue cheese on pizza?
Is that what we talked about?
I don't know. You don't like blue cheese on pizza, do you?
I don't like blue cheese, like, period.
Oh.
For the most part.
Oh, you like ranch on pizza?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a bunch of people wrote in to tell us what blue cheese is because we were wondering what it was, apparently. And it is, do you know what it is?
No.
It's mold. Blue cheese is basically just moldy pizza. The Wikipedia article says blue cheese is a general classification of cow's milk, sheep's milk, or goat's milk that have cultures of the mold penicillin added so that the final product is spotted or veined throughout with blue, blue-gray, blue-green, or blue-brown mold and carries a distinct smell, either from that or various specially cultivated bacteria. So it's just old, moldy cheese. Think about that next time you decide to put some blue cheese crumbles in your favorite hoagie.
Oh, God. No. I don't really... I won't go for the blue cheese. If I can avoid the blue cheese, I will. Feta cheese, that's a little bit better, but that's, I'm still... There's my cheeses that I stick with, but that sounds gross.
I think...
Even if it doesn't taste gross, now I don't want it.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. I think someone asked us what our favorite cheese was. I think that's why we talked about it. Someone made a really sweet Boru art of Darmanitan, who they turned, they deviated from my genius vision, unfortunately. They changed it to a monkey instead of a human, because you can't have a Pokemon that's human, So I can't blame him for that, but let me link you. Yeah. This is really nice. Maybe I'll include it in the show notes, too.
I believe I've seen this, but you said it was a Dark Man of Otin.
Dark Man Atin. But it's actually a monkey, because you can't have a human as a Pokemon. And that was made by RDNX. I'll include in the show notes for you guys to look at. Really well done. I want all the art renditions of the Pokemon that I describe, because it's so good.
Or art renditions of anything either of us will say wrong. If we say something stupid or wrong on the podcast, just draw it.
Yeah, seriously, add it to our board.
Send it on over.
I'll link the Boru too, so that people know where to upload it. I think it's just what vinesauce.boru.org. Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
find
that's
out
it.
right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one. Been
yep.
using it for 3 years. Don't know the
Yeah,
address.
you think we would know? Which is up to like almost 30,000 pieces of art or something.
I think we just hit like
Oh
24
no,
something
yeah,
or 20,
23,000.
23.
That's nuts. It's nuts. All right.
Yeah. And that's a really nice piece of art, RD. So good
Yeah.
job.
And RD also asked if you become a one-hit wonder, what would the name of the song you would want to be remembered for?
Slam you into my land.
I'd call it. I'd want blue cheese crumbles on my hoagie. That would be the name of my
If
one-hit wonder.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's like, yeah, I mean, but that's a one hit and then you have to expel it because it sounds disgusting. Like,
Well, that'd probably be why it's a hit, because people remember the title, Blue Cheese Crumbles on My Hoagie, which is actually just a thinly veiled euphemism
in the style of Bob Dylan.
for not
Blue
showering.
cheese
Blue
crumbles on
cheese!
my hoagie.
Oh, man. Romulo writes, Hello, I'm a Brazilian viewer listener. I would like to ask if you guys have a clear notion of your international reach, and what do you think about having a lot of different cultures enjoying your content? Thanks for everything. Best wishes. It's awesome. I mean, it helps that we stream so late, so we reach a lot of international time zones, right?
Hmm.
But I think we've got a pretty good idea. I mean, do you know any obscure places, or what's the strangest place you have off the top of your head that you've gotten mail from or heard viewers viewing from?
There's definitely, I'm drawing a blank now, but I've definitely received mail from everywhere. Yeah, we've got a large fan base in England, and I love those chaps. But I also, we have a lot of people in Australia that email me, a lot of people in New Zealand,
Yeah, we did get a
um,
lot of we've always had a lot of Australians. I
and
feel
even
like.
non-speaking, non-English speaking nations. We have a lot of too. I know we have a lot of Russian fans, and the spread has definitely. YouTube is an amazing tool to get yourself out there, and same thing with Twitch now. I would say it's wonderful. I love it, and I stream very late. I know you do too. At sometimes, KY,
Hmm.
and it's the international audience is I'd say the heart and soul. I mean, of the late night streams, and
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. We have people all over this giant floating rock who watch us play video games. That's just mind blowing. It's awesome though.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you guys internationally. And if I remember any of the places that I've gotten emails from, I'll mention it next time on the podcast.
So now you need to say good day in Brazilian or in Portuguese to Romulo.
Uh
You know it, right?
yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Good day in Portuguese. It says here, bom dia.
Bon dia, Romulo.
Bom dia.
Tyler writes, Hey Vinny and KY, I love Two on the Vine so far and I hope to see more frequent uploads in the future. Yeah, I don't blame you. I was wondering if you guys could discuss some of the qualities and elements that good shitty games have that kept you interested and involved in the game, as well as your opinion on why those qualities aren't present in the cookie cutter games that we now see once or twice each year. Examples of good shitty games are like Crypt Worlds, A Fantastic Game, Nintendo Nightmare, etc.
Hmm. Well, I have a few thoughts, but what about you? What do you think?
I
You
think
don't play as many shitty games as I do.
no, not as many. I just play, well, a few, but I think a big part of it, and this is kind of paraphrasing from Edmund McMillan describing good shitty horror movies. And I think games are along the same line. Is that the creator kind of, in a lot of cases, the creator genuinely put their heart and soul into it and created a game to the best of their abilities, and it just so happens that the best of their abilities makes a really wonky, weird, shitty game. And because they put so much soul into it, it kind of stands out unique and particularly special, as opposed to a game where the person was trying to make a shitty game. Like a lot of those good shitty games, they were trying so hard to make a good game, you know? But
Yeah.
it ain't easy making games. So as a result, it ends up pretty ridiculous.
I think that's a great summation of it. I don't really think I could top it, but I can only add a little bit to it and say Yeah, if you're trying too hard to make a shitty game, as so many people have done because of my shitty game streams, then it's gonna fall flat. But like KY said, put your heart and soul into it, and if you fail, it could still be hysterical.
Right.
Um, but also too, there's it's like a good movie and a good bad movie and a bad movie.
Right.
A bad movie is just boring, dull, stupid, just every cliche that makes the movie just unwatchably bad. But a good bad movie like The Room or Troll 2, these directors really tried to make a good movie.
You can tell, right? Like you can tell they put their
Yeah,
entire effort and soul into it. It just so happens that their souls are very unique souls. I'll put it
very
that way.
very strange and unique. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what the difference is. And another thing for me is a bad shitty game is one that within 20 minutes I'm not laughing. And what makes me laugh? Well, just weirdness, really.
Yeah.
I don't mind if the game is like beyond playable as long as it has some bizarre things going on in it that make me laugh. So
Hmm.
there's no clear-cut answer, but I think KY pretty much summed it up best from the get-go. Yeah.
Slim writes, KY, as a kindergarten teacher and video game enthusiast, have you ever talked about games with your kids? And do they know you play games? They're really young, like almost younger than too young to have really established interests and hobbies because they're like 3 and 4.
Mhm.
Like I couldn't have called myself a gamer until I was like 6 at least. But
Yeah, it's yeah,
but
3 is a little too young.
but I do connect with them a little bit about video games, and about 90% of them play Minecraft. Like kind of like how Mario Bros was, the big shit when the big shit. I mean,
The
when
big shit.
the big shit when we were kids. For them, it's Minecraft. Minecraft is gonna be the big thing that is the big symbol of video games for most of the generation. Most of the generation. There was. I'll keep this short because this could be long, but I'll try my best. So there's this one little kid who's about 4 who he told me his first experience with a Mario game the other day. He said, I was playing new Super Mario's Wii with my mom. And I was like, oh, really? Like, did you like it? And he was like, it was awesome. I was Luigi and my mom was a Toad. And when you jumped on the little guys, the little brown guys, it killed them. So we would jump on them all. And then there was a fortress. And when we beat the fortress, and I was like, really? Good job. And he says, and guess what happened? And I was like, what? And he says, after the fortress, there was another world. Like you could tell that his mind was blown because he didn't even think video games could do something like that. That there'd be something beyond a couple of grassy platforms that are in the first world. He's just like, there was a desert. We beat the fortress and there was a desert. I was like, oh my God. And he was like, I know.
I know. It's so cool, isn't it?
It was really heartwarming to see his enthusiasm, and it recaptured a little bit of that from my first gaming experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Mario 3 came out, and I was just like, I was like 4 or 5 for Mario 3. So that was one of the first games I remember really getting into. And that also blew my mind, like that there were more worlds than
Right.
just the first little area there. So I like that kid. That kid, he's a good kid, that kid.
Yeah, yeah. He also plays Smash Bros, so it's probably how he figured out about Mario. And God bless his mom for probably carrying him through the first world.
Right.
But Slim also asked, what is your first gaming experience you can remember as a child where you honestly thought how fun video games were and you realized that you wanted to play?
My answer for that is actually Super Mario Brothers, the original.
Which, if you were growing up in this day and age, it would have been Minecraft.
It would have been.
Yeah. Do you want to tell a story about your first time playing it, if you remember, or you're just gonna leave it at that?
Yeah, no, I can tell you when Marco peed on my couch.
Oh, okay. Tell me when Marco peed on your couch.
Yeah, it has a lot to do. Like, okay, Mario Brothers was so awesome when I was young because it was like you could make the TV move.
Right.
And my cousin bought an NES and brought it over, and that's what I had. I had an NES from when I was like, I think 3. So 85 NES came out in America. I was born in 85.
Hmm.
So I was about 3 or 4 when I started playing video games, and I was terrible at them, of course. But the thing about it is, when I was in kindergarten, as they would say, kindergarten, I
Kindergarten.
was I was playing Mario Brothers, and I had a few other games, but that was still my favorite. And I remember finally getting far, like pretty far. I was actually like further than I'd ever been on my own.
Hmm.
And I had a little classmate over that my mom made me hang out with. His name was Marco.
Hmm.
She was I don't know why. I didn't really remember liking the kid. We didn't really make friends, but she was like, "You should hang out with him." I think she was friends with his parents.
Right. And so it's convenient.
So so we're playing Super Mario Brothers, and then he stops playing, I keep playing, and I'm doing great. I'm on like world like 4 or 5, and I remember it was one of those worlds that had like the fish jumping.
Uh huh.
And so I was pretty far compared to my usual play. And I think it's because maybe Marco was watching and I was able to like really, try to impress him.
Hmm.
And then I remember him going like, "Uh-oh." And I was like, "Uh-oh." And then he had peed in his pants all over the couch. And it was gigantic. So at that point, for some reason my mind couldn't comprehend like you have to keep going. It was like, no, 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 my mother had to shut off the system. We had to like shut down the video games and deal with this crisis and get Marco home. And that's what happened. So that really pissed me off, but it also made me work harder to play video games more.
That was
And
your very first of many peeing where you sit while playing video games because you can't stop. And now
you know
now
what,
it's a daily
yes.
occurrence, and you just understand it's a fact of life. You gotta go. You're playing Mario, or you're playing Fallout, or who knows what. You can't get up and use a bathroom. That's suboptimal. So
Suboptimal.
suboptimal. So you just go where you're sitting, and you deal with the crisis later. And you learned that fact that day. That was your
Unless
first run in.
Well, I've now as a streamer, I found a way to devise like a piss tube, and like I just piss, bleh," and then it just goes through a tube and straight to the toilet. It's like a siphon. You know when you like siphon gasoline?
Yeah.
It's like you put that siphon. Anyway, so that was my story, and I love video games ever since.
Mine is the earliest memory I have was in an arcade in Wildwood, New Jersey, probably about 3 or 4. And I saw a Bust-A-Move arcade cabinet. It wasn't in an arcade. It was in a restaurant with an arcade cabinet that was Bust-A-Move. And my dad lifted me up to play, and he held me there while I played the first 2 levels. And all I could think about for like the rest of the night, the rest of the week, was how fucking awesome it was playing Bust-A-Move. And from there, my dad, got me a Game Boy and everything. And I've been hooked since then. Like it's always been a fact of life for me that I've always wanted to play video games ever since that moment. It didn't develop any more from there. It was already at its maximum potential.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, I got Bust-A-Move on Super Nintendo very shortly after, so I could continue my sesh. And yeah, that's the first game. That's how it was. I remember
And it's
it
a puzzle
distinctly.
game too.
Yeah, puzzle. Yeah, and that's kind of interesting. I didn't think of that because I do like puzzle games these days. And yours was Mario, and everyone knows you're a Nintendo whore.
Well, yeah.
That's okay.
It's
I'm
not
a
like they
Nintendo whore
don't.
too.
Yeah, I may be a Nintendo whore, but they still steal my money on YouTube. Bah!
Womp womp.
Wah, wah.
Slim also asked how we met and he asked how I got in contact with the Vine Sauce community and how I joined, but he wants to know how we met, and I think that's what we should focus on. We met
We
at a
were
train
at the same
station.
focus group. Okay.
We met at a train station behind a dumpster. And I knew right away that this Italian man was what was missing from my life. From the moment his hand touched me, it was just
Oh.
amazing.
Well, I have different memories. My memory was that we were at an MPreg self-help group, and we didn't understand why both of us were pregnant. And it just turns out that we had eaten some bad Chinese food the night before, and we were okay. But we met because we both had a weird like Chinese food experience at the self-help group. And you said your name was Rupert. I said my name was Cornelius. And oh wait, this is Fight Club, I think. Never mind. We Why don't we tell the real story?
Sure. Well, the train station part was true. If
That's
you want
true.
to talk literally how we physically met, but the dumpster was not. It was just he gave it to me out in the open.
Wait a minute.
But the hand job, I mean, not like give it to. Yeah,
God
I don't take. I'm not gay. But seriously now. But seriously, so I joined the stream. I watched Jen stream. She let me be a streamer because we had like 5 viewers, so why the fuck not? It was very much for free for all at the time. Then I started talking to Vinny because, again, like 5 viewers, it was very easy to connect directly. Vinny randomly asked if I wanted to come up to New York and hang out, and I said sure because he seemed cool. And we went up, played video games, got really drunk. I showed my nipples on stream, and the rest is history.
Them nips. That's true. I do remember another specific thing, though. I will tell you, like, our first meeting, it felt pretty good because we both really we're not complex people when it comes to, like, getting along. We just like pizza and like video games and a little alcohol. So we got along great. But I do remember there was one night, I think it was the drunkest I ever got in my life. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was
Admiral
was it
Nelson?
the Admiral? Yeah, it was the Admiral, thanks to Fred. His connoisseur level suggestion was to drink Admiral Nelson.
Which is a cheap Captain Morgan knockoff.
And Vinny got so drunk, he said he's never drinking. You can't drink Admiral Nelson anymore, right? Because it just...
No, I can't. It'll get me sick.
It triggers you.
Yeah, it does, though, because it's so, like, the taste is so ingrained. Look, I was hungover for 2 days.
Yeah. Wow. Can't even imagine.
And yeah, 2 days straight. And I remember you were pretty passed out, and I just was a mess. And that was so the drunkest I've ever been in my life, and I still never blacked out ever, but I did get close with this time. It was like 14 shots of Admiral Nelson because me and KY were playing Mario Party.
Oh my god.
And whenever we won a mini game, we would take a shot. And that was the night. And we were live. We did a Q&A. We thought we were stone sober. I don't remember any of it, but I think we were probably making bigger fools of ourselves than we thought.
Yeah, we should do that again soon.
Nope.
Not with Admiral, and maybe like
Less shots.
2/3 as many shots. Not as many, but it could be fun. I think I know people wanted us to do a live too on the Vine, so maybe we'll look into that or something. Or when I say live, I mean like streaming, not like live as in be there in person. I don't know why that was related, but it was. Yeah, that's about it.
So there you go.
Pontio the Victorious asks, Vinny, what advice do you have for people who are new to streaming? Yeah, I can't give advice on this, just you.
Oh, well, that's a shame. I'd prefer KY give advice about it.
No, go ahead. Wait, really?
I
Would you really prefer?
No.
Okay.
You can, but I have a few things. It's simple. It's just basically I get this email a lot of Vinny, what do you recommend?
Yeah.
And it's just I say the same thing really because there's not much to say. It's one, it's very competitive. 2, you're gonna get discouraged. Try not to. 3, play some fun stuff.
Yes.
And be into it and be vocal about being into it. Then don't try too hard, but don't be like a complete bore.
Yeah, you do need to ham yourself up a little bit and remember that you are an entertainer. That is part of the reason why streamers stream, presumably, is to entertain.
Yeah, they people go to listen to like random thoughts and kind of, they want to know what someone's thinking. That's why they watch streaming and not like a mute let's play, where it's like the person mutes his microphone and then here's the playthrough. Streaming is a little bit different. There's a little bit more radio involved, which is why I love it so much because I always loved radio. But then equipment, just make sure you do your research. Look into a decent microphone. Look into, listen to yourself, record yourself, make sure you sound good, and be confident, and just promote. Get yourself a Twitter, get yourself a group of friends, and try your best. But I'm just gonna say this: it's really difficult to get started, and unless there's some severe nepotism going on, it's gonna be really hard to get your entire like fan base from like 3 to like 30 to eventually 300.
Yeah,
So
we
just
were,
good luck.
our timing was very good. Vine's House's timing was very good.
We were there towards the beginning, so
Yeah.
we got lucky.
But it's a much harder these days because you go to if you go to Twitch and search channels and just go to random channels, 'cause there's a little random option, and you see that there's probably 100 results on the first page. About the average viewer count's 3, and the game is either League of Legends, Counter-Strike Go, or Minecraft, or Hearthstone.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah.
So that's the sea you're wading through. So whatever you can do to make your stream different or to stand out will benefit you.
Hmm.
Just make sure that whatever it is you choose is what you want to use to what's the word I'm looking for?
Build your fan base.
Right, to curate the audience that you want.
Because nothing's worse than getting stuck forced to play a game that you don't want to play.
Right, or to be forced to be your thing to be a fan base that you don't like. So you try to do something that, like, don't play League of Legends unless you're trying to just make a living being an esport athlete.
And I don't even know how the fuck to get started with that. That's a whole different.
That's a whole different thing. But if you're looking for variety streaming, then don't play an esport game. If you're looking to try to make it through esports, then do nothing but that one game and devote yourself to it.
It's good advice.
Yeah, just anything to make yourself stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Braden asks, my question is for Vinny. I started listening to some of the songs that your band made, and that inspired me to want to learn more about music and one day form my own band. My question is, how do I start a band, and what songs would be good to listen to for inspiration? Again, a topic I know nothing about. This question is for you.
It's funny because KY's been in bands. KY has more musical knowledge and background than I do. But yeah, don't ask KY.
No,
that's
sorry.
Okay.
No.
No.
I'm just being a dick, but
I'm being a dick too, because you know what? Maybe a lot of people don't know that, and
No,
they
that's
hear
true.
my music because I'm posting it on my Twitter and stuff.
I do have a story about Liana. Remind me after this viewer.
Oh,
mail.
sure. Just pick up an instrument that you enjoy or that you could see yourself playing.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get lessons, great. I recommend that for people who are completely at base level, know nothing. But I taught myself because I had a drive, and I always loved rock music. I always loved the guitar. When I got the guitar, I was motivated because I was, going to college. I wanted to do something new, and I taught myself. I learned guitar tab, which are really easy to read, and I played my favorite songs. Start with an easy chord, A chord, B chord, D, G, and then eventually I learned more and more and more, and the band stuff just happened naturally. It's a matter of finding some like-minded people and really getting into it. But you got to have a passion for it. You got to love it. And I would recommend listening to if you like my music, you might like some classic rock. You might like Pink Floyd. You might even like Nirvana, which is not the deepest music when you listen to it, but there's a lot of good songs in there that are easy to play along to.
And it's easy to parse from a songwriter standpoint too, which is kind of key.
Yes. KY's right. Definitely Nirvana is great for good songwriting. And above all, I would probably recommend the Beatles. That's my favorite band. They're great songwriters, a lot of variety. You'll find something you like, but don't be afraid to listen to a full album. Too many people today will listen to like one song. Here's a song I like from this band. I don't know anything else. No, go for a whole album. Listen to Sgt. Pepper from the Beatles. Listen to Revolver, the White Album. And if you develop a passion for it and you like it, then the rest will come naturally.
Yeah. The only thing I would really add to that, I mean, I know the question wasn't for me, but the only thing I would really add to that would be if you're looking to write songs and be in a band, like you said, if you're not content with just knowing an instrument, but you actually want to write your own music, from day one of learning an instrument or anything, from right away, just as soon as you can, start writing music, even if it's shitty, even if you don't feel confident about it, even if you feel it's total garbage, even if you don't show anyone that music or show anyone any music for years that you write, just do it. Make yourself do it. Just do it over and over and over and over every day. or as often as possible. Do
Yep.
it when you're in a shitty mood, even if you really can't find the motivation to do it. Rely on discipline instead of motivation, and make yourself write music over and over and over and over. And the more you do it, the better you will get. Like, hands down. It's impossible.
100%.
Yeah. It's impossible to not get better at doing something that you devote yourself to doing, no matter how bad it is and how bad your starting point is.
Yeah, and for me, I ended up writing almost every day for a long time, multiple little ideas. Get yourself a little tape recorder and just record your little ideas, and then try to expand them and listen to other songs for inspiration. But again, for discipline and passion, I think, are what really creates a good artist.
Yeah. Remember, what you hear from a discography of your favorite artist is probably just, 5% of the music they've written in their life.
Yeah.
It just happens to be the best 5%.
That's a good point. That's a really good thought.
So when you're writing your stuff and you worry that it's no good, it's good. It's good no matter what. Either it's good because it's a good song, or it's good because it taught you something about writing songs.
Yeah, there's a lot that you can learn from yourself, but you have to do it a lot, and you have to not be afraid to fail and write a bad song.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of Liana,
right,
sorry,
my song.
Yeah. So do you want to sing a little bit like, "Oh, Liana, won't you come away with me?" Right?
Me. Yeah.
So there is this student at my school who's probably about 3.5. Now I want you to imagine Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
You saw Benjamin Button, right?
No, but I know what the movie is all about.
So when Benjamin Button is first born, it's pretty much an old man baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so as the old man baby got older, it slowly, like, its skin got more normal, and eventually as he quote unquote got old, he was, a baby, but so on. So there is this kid in my school who is pretty much a Benjamin Button. She's 3.5. She looks like an old man baby, in that I guess her skin is relatively normal, but she's like balding. Her teeth are all crooked, like really thin hair, just like the doofiest kid. And you know what her name is?
Liana?
Lalana.
Lalana.
So every time I see this stupid little Benjamin Button baby, it's actually, imagine Benjamin Button if it was an old Asian woman. Just this little old, Asian woman man baby named Lalana. And every time I see Lalana, I think, "Oh, Lalana.
Oh, Lalana, won't you come along with me?"
Except you're actually singing to a little old woman, Asian man baby. That's what your song means to me now, and it will never mean anything else.
Wow, and there's so much in that song too, but that's fine. As long as it works for you, I'm happy. Is it Lallana?
Lallana.
Lallana.
Yep.
Let me check, because the other one without the two L's, that's Lalana, baby name. Just out of curiosity, I have the internet here. The power of the internet, I can look up anything. And meaning. The meaning of the word Lalana is a child or a kind of tree. And it's a boy name. And it originates in Asia, India, and Hindu science is the culture.
Hindu science?
I don't know.
The fuck does that mean?
This website seems like a hack fraud website. So never mind.
Yeah. An old man baby Asian.
Well, that's an interesting story, but I'm happy that you now have my song stuck in your head, whether you want to or not. So, yay.
There you go. So, video games. We want to talk about Fallout?
I think we should talk about Fallout, because that's the big one.
Yeah, I think, even though it's funny because this episode's 2 weeks late, like, we are officially an entire episode behind on our schedule. And this Fallout thing just happened 2 days ago, so it snuck its way into this episode.
Yeah.
But Fallout.
Very fortuitous timing. I think the thing I noticed immediately was the trailer was very colorful compared to what you'd expect from a wasteland. Too many post-apocalyptic games. It's just shades of piss, brown.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to see any kind of color. But the trailer looked great. It was the graphics weren't like mind-blowingly like, oh God, look at this. However, the aesthetic looked good
Yeah.
and the colors were bright and it looks like it's going to be a fully realized world and I can't wait to explore it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I was pretty hyped for it. I think in regards to the graphics, because that's the big hot, button to press about this topic.
Mhm.
A lot of people were really upset with the graphics or the graphical quality, and I'll agree that I don't think it was stellar. Like it definitely wasn't next gen. But did this game look bad to you?
No.
No. Like,
No, no,
not
no,
at
no, no.
all. Like, I didn't think it looked bad at all. It's funny because a trailer comes out very early that is clearly just a teaser using really prettied up assets because they don't have a lot of final stuff to show and they want to hype people. And then the game comes out, inevitably looks worse than the trailer, and people bitch, right? People say,
Mhm.
how come they would show a trailer if it didn't
Yeah.
look like that? Or why don't you wait until they say how come they don't wait until the final game is out or they have a final look before they make the trailer so that the trailer is true to what the game will look like. People bitch about that.
Mhm.
Now, enter Fallout 4 trailer. Not trying to blow anyone away, clearly not prettied up at all. Just there to show the immense world that is there. And what
Yeah,
do people bitch about?
the graphics.
Yep.
Isn't it unbelievable?
I
And
couldn't believe it. Ugh, it just made me so mad.
like I'm watching it right now as you and I are talking just to recap and it looks great.
Like
Now,
my
again, yeah, it's not like there's no like specular lensing. There's no fuck nugget, whatever ambient occlusion times 10. There's a lot of things that you won't see. The lens flare is not present. There's not a lot of bells and whistles, but it is a very clean, very, very deliberately created world that I'm looking at.
yeah.
And I don't think it looks bad at all. I'm actually impressed the way they took a risk at making this a more colorful game than what I've seen in previous post-apocalyptic adventures.
Yep.
So I think it looks great, but that it doesn't look next gen great. That's okay. That's some people are going to be upset about that. I don't mind so much.
Yeah, there. I remember my favorite comment was, "It's okay, guys. I'm sure they'll release an HD texture pack for it." Which, it's like the epitome of entitled, or I don't
And
know.
there's a lot going on in that sentence.
Yeah,
But when you look at the textures in the trailer, they don't look like they're not HD. So I don't know what he's
yeah.
talking about.
Well, the only one that really stuck out like a sore thumb for me was the dog, and when you add two and two, it makes a little bit of sense why some people would feel that kind of sentiment because the dog is arguably the focal point of the trailer, right?
True.
And the dog is the shittiest looking thing in the trailer.
Yes, that's a little weird though, isn't
It
it?
doesn't move naturally. It doesn't feel right like the way the dog moves, and the dog's texture is super shitty. But if you really look at the environment, I think it looks pretty good. Like it doesn't look totally next gen, but I think you'd be delusional to say it's not a step up from Fallout 3. That was another comment I read. Fallout 3 looked better than this.
No.
Disagreed.
No.
100%.
Go back and look at Fallout 3 and
I
just
think
do
I think
a
the
spot
image
check.
in our mind of games we really love always looks better than the game actually did.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I haven't done the side by side image comparison, but I feel pretty confident that if you put them side by side, that Fallout 4 would look better from a purely graphical standpoint, which is the
It
standpoint
does.
we're arguing.
It does. It does. And again, it's like when the game came out, it was mind blowing because when you stepped out of that vault, it was so like vast and everything.
Which
But
I gotta say, I'm glad they brought back that introduction, because you can see him crawling out of the vault at the end, and the eyes blinding, or the sun blinding his eyes, and
Yeah.
it felt very much the way I felt when I crawled out of the vault in Fallout 3, which I liked a lot more than New Vegas's opening. With New Vegas's opening, you step out of a shack, and you're just
Right,
like,
yeah.
you already feel like, okay, this is a world that I spend my entire life in. In Fallout 3, you get out and you really feel like you're viewing this world for the first time. Not just because you, the player, are, but you can relate to your character feeling that way. And I hope
Yeah.
with Fallout 4, it looks like it's going to have some kind of similar introduction where you're crawling out of the vault, even if it's not the first time the player's necessarily been out of the vault, it kind of harkens back to that feeling I got from Fallout 3's introduction. So that was a very big welcome change compared to New Vegas's, shack emerging.
Yeah,
But
which I get, because in some ways New Vegas was like, well, look, we're already in this world from Fallout 3, so instead of
yeah,
trying to duplicate,
no, I think
obviously
they did the
didn't come
right
up
thing with
they
with
did.
New
They maybe
Vegas.
could have gone a little bit more clever with it, but regardless, it was still, the intro was not as impactful, which I can understand. But
But it's
this
just an
game,
intro
yeah,
too.
that was such a genius way to introduce Fallout 3 to the people that were playing it, with that stepping out of the vault. And this game looks like it's got an interesting thing going on too, which is the flashbacks.
Yeah,
So
I
you
really
get to
hope
see the people going into the vault and like how all the stuff happened.
I really hope that they have some pre-war gameplay sequences, because that's kind of what it was jabbing at, was that there would be sections of the game, or maybe it starts like that, where you're just in the world before the war and before the apocalypse, or whatever you want to call it. And I hope that they do that. I hope that wasn't just a trailer thing, or I hope it's not just a cutscene thing. I hope they gives you some interactive parts, kind of like that one part of Fallout 3 where you're in the simulation in the 50s.
The simulation, yeah, that was such a memorable and cool part of that game.
It's nice when big games change up the environment. It feels like a break in the pace in a good way, like a refreshing thing for the player. Because there are a lot of games that are really long and you never get a break from that environment. But when something like that simulation happens, I don't know. It just does something to the game that when you come out of that part, it's refreshed. Like that was a refreshing segment, and I hope that Fallout 4 has that with the pre-war gameplay segments. I hope.
I hope so too. And even if it really necessarily doesn't, it looks like we'll at least get some history, and that'll probably help build the world a little bit. And it looks like it takes place in Boston.
Yeah.
People have been saying that, so score one for you.
Yeah.
I was hoping it would take place on Staten Island, but we're already post-apocalyptic, so never mind.
It would be pre-war and post-war, and it would be exactly the same. There wouldn't be any difference.
Yeah, it would just
they
be-
didn't bother bombing Staten Island because,
a
why the
bunch
fuck
of-
waste resources on that shithole? But
The ghouls, instead of being ghouls, they're just Snookies in Jersey Shore, like super tan. They're like, bro, I've been tanning for days.
I'm tweaking.
Yo, you got any Percocets, bro?
Have you been to the Nuka gym?
Yo, come to the Nuka gym and work on your glutes. Do you like glutacola? It's where you
Glutacola.
drink the glutes from another ghoul.
You can get
And you
swole
get swole.
from chems while you get swole from the barbells. Vin.
Fallout 4, Staten Island, coming soon. Oh, shit.
That'll be the DLC, like how the pit was to Fallout 3. It'll be or what would you call the Staten Island based DLC for Fallout 4?
The Forgotten Burrow.
The Gweed.
Or the Gweed. Yeah, the Gweed. Yeah, any of those really. Or the Dump, because we had the biggest dump in like the world here
Is that
for a
true?
while. Yeah, the dump was closed. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was a kid, I used to go to the mall, and the dump was just closing. But before it closed, I remember the stench was unbearably awful. And on a good day, sorry about the crackles.
Oh, it's okay.
On a good windy day, you could get a wind from the Staten Island dump, and it would smell like up to a few miles away. And I remember here where I live, I would be able to smell it. It was disgusting. And there's a lot of speculation that this dump led to a lot of really bad things, like cancer and birth defects. And it was really one of the largest dumps on the planet. It was reopened again briefly for the 9/11 debris and then shut. Now it's a park. They're turning it into a park. I swear to God. They have a giant tarp over it. They've treated it. They have pumps that let methane gas out of the ground. And
Oh my God.
they're turning it into this big trail, hiking trail, bike trails, park for children. And I got to be honest, and I didn't believe this at first, but I was actually at some of the when they were working on some of the stuff. I saw the videos. It looks great.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
I would assume it would have to if they're going to continue to spend money and time working on it. It would have to eventually look really good.
tons of money, and they say it's safe, and they've got layers of soil on top of it, and so that's the story of the dump. That's what the DLC would be called, the
Did,
dump.
did Fallout 4 the dump? Did the dump have a name? Like dumps have names, don't they? Like, isn't that weird?
I think it was called the Great Kills Landfill.
The Great Kills.
We have a kill is like a thing of water. So we have a place on Staten Island called Great Kills, and we also have Arthur Kill. So
How do you spell
great,
it?
Great Kills, Kills.
So it's just kills, like you think. Wow. The kill.
I don't know if
Great.
I don't know the etymology specifically, but I can tell you that there are a few places. Kill is an archaic Dutch word with various popular translations, including creek and channel.
Oh.
And many small streams dot the neighborhood, and that's why they called it Great Kills.
Wow. See there, you guys just fucking learned something. You
Yeah.
learned kill. You can say, let's have a walk down to the kill, and people will not be creeped out at all.
And I lied, it's called the Fresh Kills landfill.
Fresh kills. Wow.
Isn't that something?
Oh man, I wonder how many bodies have been dumped in there. Like, wow.
I could almost guarantee more than you and I could count on our hands, toes, and, Johnson's. So Fallout 4, we were talking about all the stuff that we would see in the trailer, but just out of curiosity, what do you want from the gameplay? What do you want out of the game?
I hope they... Well, I think New Vegas was a step in the right direction, making the special stat matter a little bit more than it did in Fallout 3, and I hope they continue in that direction. Like, really putting a lot of attention into making the game react to how you put your special stat to really make a difference. I hope that... I almost hope that they revamp VATS, because...
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because VATS, at the end of the day, wasn't too deep. It was fun, and it was satisfying. But I almost wish it was more strategic. I wish that VATS was interweaved with choosing not to use VATS, and you have really distinct advantages and disadvantages. I mean, I guess there were some, but I don't know. It's hard to say. But I just hope they do something different with VATS, just to try to switch it up or try something new with it.
I would also like more depth with VATS too, because it was a cool system and I don't want to lose it. But part of me also kind of wants the option to turn it off, and not turn it off necessarily, but like, how you would like just shoot people if you weren't using VATS.
Yeah.
And it kind of wouldn't respond to certain like hits.
Mm-hmm.
It was still like stat based. It was still RPG.
Yeah. Whenever you hit something, there would be a roll to see if you hit or miss.
Yeah. I kind of want maybe a game mode just for fun, just on the side maybe, or an option to have it so that when you shoot someone and you hit them in the head, you're not going to miss if you roll a miss.
Right. I agree with that. I always thought that was silly. Like, I feel if you're not using VATS, then it should do away with the dice rolls, and if you aim and it hits, then it hits. If you aim and you miss, then you miss. That way the Twitch shooters, like Twitch is in, like, not the company, but
Right.
like the skill-based shooters, they have a game that they can enjoy in that way. But of course, if they're going to do that, then they need to make enemy movement and enemy AI a bit more complicated, because in Fallout 3 and in New Vegas, a vast majority of the time you could just backpedal, or a vast majority of the time they just walk toward you while attacking. So aiming was very easy if you didn't use VATS, or obviously if you did use VATS it was easy, but even without VATS it was relatively easy, because you just backpedal, put your pointer or put your reticle on the head and shoot, and it would generally stay there. So enemy movement and enemy AI would have to be revamped a bit for that to work, I think. But
there's a like a chain reaction of what needs to be done to make that happen. But if there is you get a specific set of bonuses for using VATS, and you also get a specific set of perks for using real-time combat. That would be for me the perfect game, because some situations you can run and gun, you can do aim, get your shots in, and then other situations you want to take it with VATS and do it more strategically. But that's just me. That's it won't detract from the game if it's not in there, but it's a little idea.
Yeah, I just hope they do anything to change VATS up a bit, because I like VATS, but it got old quickly for me, and it was very, very very light on strategy for me.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And it would just be nice to have a bit deeper thinking behind that. But it's not a deep thinking game, so maybe I shouldn't try to hope for that. And I'm sure I'll get grilled on that. But that's what I would like, at least. So
Yeah. Yeah, at the very least, we're gonna like the game because it's great exploration and it's gonna be cool to discover all the creatures and characters in the world. And this game looks like it's gonna be no exception. I really, I'm excited. I am genuinely excited for Fallout 4, regardless of the dog graphics and regardless of the fact that maybe they didn't use motion capture for their animations, which, in my opinion, almost lends a certain stylistic approach
yeah.
to the game, which I'm
And
okay with.
And for all we know, I mean, it's still early as far as consumer knowledge is. For all we know, maybe they've just spent this whole time building the world and marginally working on visuals. And then they're going to do a big visual push in the following months now that the game is content complete. Something like
Maybe.
that. But, that might be hopeful, wishful thinking, because chances are they're actually just thinking about DLC at this point.
Yeah.
Like, just with the way AAA cycles work these days, they're probably already planning out and working on DLC for all we know. But yeah, if I had faith, then I imagine it will have a little bit more visual polish before release. I mean, even if that just means some filters that people will inevitably complain about. But,
Yeah, sure.
but yeah.
Well, predictions on when it'll be released?
October.
Yep. I'm with you. October.
I mean, I think a little later, but there was that whole leak thing. Did you hear about that?
Go ahead. Go on.
So there's this user on Reddit who about a year ago posted a gigantic leaky wall of details about Fallout 4, basically saying, I did work for Bethesda. I accidentally leaked some details. I accidentally leaked something, and then Kotaku got their hands on it, and I got fired. In revenge, here's a whole bunch of details. If you want to verify it, look, you can ask any Bethesda employee about my name, which is my Reddit name, and they will verify. No one believed this person, but they had a timetable for completion and a whole bunch of details. The timetable included June 2015 trailer. In June 2015, here we are. We got a trailer. It included saying the main character is male, cannot be changed, and the main character will be voiced. Also true. They said that the game takes place in Boston. They said
Ooh.
like all these different things that so far have been 100% true. And the more of those things that are coming true, the more likely that this leak was also true. And according to that leak, they're releasing in October. So that's why I said October. Otherwise, I would say November, December. But we'll see.
Well, I believe, I have my theory about October as well, actually, and it's not anything related to that. I didn't know about that, but I just figured this is going to be one of those things that we're going to hear about more at E3 for release this year. And it could have been October, November. It could have been even, I would say, yeah, those are the 2 months. So I won't just say October. I'll say between October and November. But yeah, to get specific, I would not be surprised if it came out October 2015.
Yeah, between October and December for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts or
about Fallout? Nope, not
Yeah.
really. They released just today, actually. They talked about, or Steam unveiled a date and some like pre-order prices and specs and stuff for their Steam box, for their Steam controller, and for Steam Link. So did you want to talk about that at all?
Well, the Steam box itself, I don't know a lot about because I didn't do my research on it. I know what it does. I know what it's capable of, but I wanted to talk more about the controller.
Okay.
Because the controller is interesting. It has haptic feedback. It's got, instead of analog sticks, it's got one analog stick, but it also has two like little touch pads for your thumb, which apparently offers very precise control. Unparalleled.
Yeah. When it comes to controllers, it really is unparalleled.
For a controller. Yeah.
It's very much, a lot of people, the only major complaint that I could imagine some people coming up with is that there's not enough, that it tries to emulate mouse movement, but there's not enough room on the trackpads to properly do that. But the thing is, moving your thumb from one end to the other and then having to reset your thumb is very much analogous to having to reset your mouse. When you move your mouse to the right and you want to move right further, you have to pick it up and put it back and then move it right more. I mean, obviously that's solved with mouse sensitivity, and then obviously they're going to have sensitivity options for your thumbs on the trackpad. So to me, it's kind of a non-issue, if you ask me. And not only that, it actually has an edge on a mouse, because if the left pad doubles as mouse movement like the right pad does, you can have one thumb move right, and then when it hits the end, you can have your other thumb continue that motion. So by picking up your thumbs and moving them in succession, you can actually continually move the cursor. You never have to reset.
So I find that to be interesting, but I've not got my hands on the controller. You had your hands on an earlier prototype at PAX last year.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And you liked it?
I thought it was great. I liked it a lot. I think it needed some work, and it got work.
How was the feedback? The haptic feedback?
It was really good, because the best way to think of it is almost like a ball. Like if you flick a ball, and take your finger off, it continues to roll, and that gives you some extra motion. So if you want to do a quick 180, all you have to do on the trackpad is flick, and you can feel the haptic feedback continue, so you can kind of get an idea of the velocity of the movement and its deceleration as well, because the clicks get further apart as it decelerates. Without that feedback, it would be much harder to judge how far your cursor is going to move, other than with practice. I mean, using a mouse I guess it's similar to using a mouse, but the feedback made a big difference, especially if you want to do those things like quick 180s. I really like the haptic feedback. It's subtle, but it's very effective. It works really well from my experience with it.
Okay, that was something I was curious about. So that's good. That sounds.
Uh-huh.
I'm excited for it. I really, I want one. I actually, I emailed Valve. I was like, hey, can I get one?
What, you think they'll send you one?
Absolutely not.
I really doubt it, but you never know.
I tried. I mean, why not? It was worth a shot. I was like, yeah, I'll stream it. I'll stream with it. I'll tell people it's nice if it's nice.
Yeah. My only problem. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
That's probably not going to happen. Gabe's a very busy man.
Yeah. I mean, the only major problem I had with the prototype was it was hard to imagine playing platformers like Spelunky and stuff, because there were no face buttons on it at the time. And now it has face buttons. They're not in the most ideal spot, and you can still use the trackpad like the face buttons. So it works, and it's a big step up from what the prototype was. Not only that, but if you can't spend a lot of time customizing a game, because it's totally customizable when you play a game. The inputs are customizable, and if you can't spend the time doing that, they have a workshop functionality where you can download user layouts. Like if you're gonna play, Papers, Please with a Steam controller, you should just go to Steam Workshop, look up Papers, Please controller layout, and download it and just map it in 30 seconds flat.
And of course, I think Steam is eventually going to, start incorporating that into it naturally. So you're going to play Papers, Please. Here's what we found the best setting to be. So when you just load the game and you have it plugged in, you're already gone. You're already going.
I imagine a lot of games with Xbox support have a default layout on the controller for Xbox. I mean, even the face buttons are the same colors and letters as an Xbox controller, because they know that so many games support Xbox that it just makes total sense to copy that with a Steam controller, because it's all that way. It's already compatible. The only thing are games like Civilization, or anything that's totally cursor based, or WASD and mouse like a shooter. And I do have faith that it's a big step towards the accuracy of a mouse and keyboard based on my experience. And I'm kind of excited to someday sit down and play a game like Civ from my couch, just for the hell of it, and have that kind of control that just analog sticks wouldn't have been able to offer before.
Yeah, even if it's not 100%, even if it's close, that's still great, because I'm not looking to be the most competitive gamer, but I do understand the utility of a mouse and keyboard for a number of games.
I mean, you play Counter-Strike, so...
I love Counter-Strike because the level of control is incredible, and that's a mouse and keyboard that offers that. So if this gets even 75% to 80% close to that, so I can sit on my couch and play Counter-Strike on my big screen, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. So... And then other games like StarCraft might be a little bit too intensive for the Steam controller. Like even such a thing can happen. But like strategy games, I'm sure some of the slower paced ones would work great, but maybe not. I'm not sure how something like StarCraft 2 would work, because that's like super, super fast paced and like shortcut based.
Yeah, I think that,
So
well, because due to the workshop users like user button layout support, I think people will come up with some really clever layouts for things like that. But it won't be as ideal as a keyboard for a game like that, I think.
maybe
But
not. Yeah, maybe that's one example of where it won't quite excel, but I feel like almost anything else it could.
yeah, totally. Steam Link is cool. I like that it's an alternative to just having, just plugging my computer into my TV. And I don't know. I like the idea of Steam Link. It seems like a cheaper alternative for people who already have gaming PCs to be able to play on their TV without needing their PC to be right next to their TV. And the built-in controller Bluetooth support just makes that extra useful, because now I can, if I want and I have a Steam Link, I have friends over, and for Steam controllers I could play Towerfall, or I could play any number of those local multiplayer indie games that I own that are
Sure.
local only. Now with Steam Link it's kind of a reasonable thing, whereas it's not as practical right now, having to hook my computer up, having to hook up 4 controllers through my 2 USB ports, like right now I use GameCube controllers, believe it or not, hooked up through my Wii adapter that I use for Smash Bros.
Interesting.
I just do it to my PC, but it's not ideal because most games don't detect GameCube, so I need to do custom mappings and all this other stuff. It's just not practical. I use some janky combination of PS3 controllers through different USB ports in my computer. It just doesn't work as well. Whereas with the Steam Link, that would solve so much more problems. It would make those nights more frequent, just because they would be so much more practical.
Yeah, and also too, like, you don't really even need a console for couch gaming anymore. If you just want to get all that set up, then you're good to go, and you don't need to buy like something else. You could just have a good computer, focus on upgrading your computer, and use Steam Link for that. So I think I agree with you. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and then the box, not too much to say about it that we haven't already heard. I
Sure.
don't have too much to think about it, unless you have anything you want to say.
No, I don't really have anything to add. It's a nice idea, Steam box, and I hope it works. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Would you like to do some Greenlight guess?
I will, but I will just say for a second, I'll tell you what I've been playing, and I want to ask you
sure.
what you've been playing.
Sure.
I've been playing Splatoon. As most people that maybe listen to this have seen, it is addictive. And the subtitle of Splatoon should be Splatoon, just one more.
Just one more.
It's very addictive.
The just one more factor is, I don't know if I would call it the mark of a good game necessarily, because there are a lot of games where I get a just one more vibe from, but don't feel they're really good games for whatever reason. But for Splatoon, I definitely think it's a result of a really novel and fun game. That's where the just one more factor of Splatoon comes from.
Do you have it?
No, not yet. Soon, hopefully. But definitely by July or so. But
It's really good.
Yeah. I mean, it looks really good, and I definitely want to play it.
So that's one of the games I've been playing, and I'm enjoying it. It feels like the content is trickling in.
Do you like
So
the
maybe
single player? Is single
Yeah,
player good?
I only streamed maybe an hour of it, maybe less, but I did the first boss. The first boss was really clever. I hear the rest of it's really good, and so far, I'm liking it. I think the single player is still not the main focus of the game.
Does it?
Regardless of that, it's solid.
My only question about the single player, I would ask, does it prep you for the competitive concepts that you would need to get the most out of the multiplayer, or is it just like a campaign that's like kind of its own thing?
It feels like it's its own thing, but there's still the like action. There's still it teaches you a lot of mechanics that you might not have known.
Okay.
And it's important to kind of like, I think, go through it to unlock. You actually unlock weapons for multiplayer, but it's a good single player campaign compared to what I thought we were gonna get.
Right.
So yeah, Splatoon is highly recommended. And also Eldritch, I started playing, and that's a really fun game, like a Lovecraftian first-person shooter roguelike light.
Uh huh.
Really good. Um, and Darkest Dungeon has had an update. I've been playing that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. I've been meaning to check out the update at least, but try not to play it too much. I mean, we talked about it last episode, how I'm trying not to. It's one of those games where I think I might just wait until there's a proper end game implemented before I dive into it again.
Yeah, it's the update was cool. There's three new bosses. There's a few characters, two new characters. But yeah, it's not maybe the content update we were all hoping for. But it's good.
Yeah.
Have I been playing anything else? At the moment, that's it.
Okay.
How
Let's
about you?
see. I picked up for 3DS. I got Stretchmo, which it's just like Pushmo, except you can stretch from the sides too, which is pretty much the only thing it was missing. Sometimes I feel that constraint is interesting in its own way, or not constraint. That addition is interesting in its own
Hmm.
way. Uh, it makes newer puzzles, or it makes some new trains of thought that you didn't have with Pushmo. Um, but I almost like the constraint that Pushmo had, because not having that extra element kept it really simple, and they made a lot of really clever puzzles around that simplicity. So it's a one step forward, one step back in a way. So
Okay,
really good.
interesting.
I picked up BoxBoy, which you probably remember from that Nintendo Direct that we talked about.
Yeah, is that any good?
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. I was really impressed by the level of polish that I wasn't expecting, but it's super polished. Like, it almost feels like a really, really good, like, from a visual standpoint, it feels like a really good Game Boy game, like highly polished Game Boy game. From a game design standpoint, sometimes it's slightly slow because there are some redundant puzzles. Like, it will test you a couple extra times more than necessary on a particular concept, whereas a really good puzzle game will teach you a concept, then see if you master the concept, and then only incorporate that concept in conjunction with other stuff, rather than retesting you on the same concepts. But for the most part, it's a tight design, really well polished. Like I said, way more than I expected, and overall very good. I'm very
Okay,
glad I got it, even though it's a stupid title, and the game looks like it just looks very low quality. And when you play it, you realize it's really high quality, in my opinion.
right. Yeah, that was the problem with it because it was like people were laughing like, "Oh, look at this box boy."
No, it's
That seems
good.
like something someone could make in their bedroom. But then yeah, it's like one of those games with hidden depth, and it's better than it looks,
Yeah,
which is great. Yeah,
it's
so
really
that's
good.
cool.
If that game was out on the Game Boy when that came out, because it's totally capable of that. Because graphically, it's not intense, but like I said, just it has a Nintendo level of polish behind it. I'll put it that way. Everything feels like polished to a really bright, like, sheen.
Right.
And when you play it, you'll realize that there's a lot of detail in it. Uh, you should check it out. I think is $5, which some people would consider a lot for a game like that, but I think it's priced exactly right. I'm getting a lot out of it, and it has 20 worlds, which is like, so far it's lasted me longer than I thought it would too. Might
Okay.
be a little bit on the easy side, at least for my taste, but for others that might be a good thing. I've only ever been like stuck for more than a couple moments and like two or three puzzles. Because especially late game, there are some difficult parts, but for the most part, it's very very easy but very satisfying.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, that's interesting. All right. So Box Boy is a highly recommended title then,
I recommend it, at least for puzzle fans, totally.
and the
And it's
title of it
cheap.
sounds like something you might hear on Greenlight Guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm not done talking about my games, man. I gotta.
No, no, no. I'm just. It wasn't a segue. Could have been, but
Totally was. Totally
No, no,
was.
no. It wasn't. I mean, yeah, maybe. But don't worry. Keep going. Keep going. I'm listening.
So there's only two others that I've been playing. One is Invisible Ink. I forget if I did I talk about Invisible Ink before.
Invisible Ink is. Oh no, I don't even know what that is. Go ahead. Tell me about it.
Okay, I'll be short because it's very easy to describe. It's the elevator pitch is it's XCOM meets stealth. It controls like XCOM, like in that it's tactical isometric a squad-based game, but the main focus is stealth. You don't want to be seen by enemies, so you can always see the enemy's cone of vision and plan your moves around them. And then when they inevitably see you, you got to really react cleverly using your spies, gadgets, and stuff. And
Okay.
so you're sneaking around the environment, you're hacking cameras and safes and drones and misdirecting enemies and stealing data and stealing credits and spending credits on shops to get cool gadgets to get your job done better. And it's just really, really good, like super good. My game of the month, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, Invisible Ink, really super good. By Clay Entertainment, they made a Don't Starve and
Oh, okay.
Mark of the
Okay.
Ninja.
So they've got a good track record.
Yeah, and another game that I should say is just super well polished. Polish makes a huge difference. It does. But Invisible
Yeah.
Ink, I've been playing that, and I can't recommend that enough. The last one,
It looks great.
yeah, I
I'm
think
looking at it now. It looks great. The art style is awesome.
I think you would like it the most out of the games I'm talking about tonight.
Okay.
Like I would recommend it more than BoxBoy. I'd recommend
All right.
it more than Stretchmo. And this next game, the last one I'm going to bring up, I've been playing a lot of a game called Cogmind, which is a traditional roguelike, like an actual roguelike, not, all the stuff you see on Steam all the time.
God bless you.
Vinny says, bless you.
Thank you.
So a traditional roguelike. So you navigate dungeons, you try to get to the end. But you are a mech, and you can attach parts from the robots that you blow up. So if you blow up a robot, you can take his rocket launcher, you can take his treads, you can take his engine, you can take his targeting computer, his like stasis gun, and then that shit inevitably gets destroyed off of you, in which case you just rebuild yourself, and you're just constantly, as you're going through a dungeon, killing robots, constantly rebuilding, finding better weapons, finding better things, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting too. And what would this you say that Invisible Ink you would say is best of these four games that you've mentioned today, or the
If-
one that you like the best?
If you like traditional roguelikes, then I would recommend Cogmind out of the four. But, traditional roguelikes are a very particular taste. Not
Right,
everyone
yeah.
likes the hardcore traditional stuff when it
I
comes
mean,
to
I'm looking at
roguelikes.
it now, and it's one of those games that's you have to use your imagination a little bit.
A little
as
bit.
opposed
There's
to-
there's ASCII, and then there's a tile set built in, which is really nice. The tile set's very good, but still very simplistic. It's weird because it has a lot of visual like UI polish. Even though the display doesn't immediately show it, you still see explosions actually happen. You see lasers shoot off as robots move around and shoot each other and stuff like that. That's really cool. And I think the best feature is that when you look at a piece of equipment, it actually shows what that piece of equipment looks like, and that art is in ASCII. So if there's a
Right,
rocket
right.
launcher, you see the rocket
Yeah.
launcher rendered in ASCII to make the art of the rocket launcher, and you get that for every piece of equipment in the game, and each one has a unique portrait. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I was just looking at that as you said that. I was like, wait a minute, that looks awesome. And the
Yeah.
hammer is all like made out of ASCII. That's really cool. This
Yeah.
is not for me. I will tell you straight off the bat.
Which
not
is
for
why
me,
I was
but
gonna.
it's cool.
That's why I was gonna say. For most people, out of the games I'm playing right now, Invisible Ink is the one to get. If you like XCOM and you like stealth, if you like either of those, get it. If you like both of those, you must get it. That's what I
Sure.
would say. Check it
And
out. I could probably get you a key if you want, maybe. I paid for it like a way back in the day when it was in early alpha because it was early access, and it kind of sucked back then. So it's really nice to see a game come through so well.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, this game isn't something that I could say I would play right now, considering I'm still streaming Final Fantasy VII. I'm still
Yeah.
streaming Darkest Dungeon. I'm doing Splatoon now, and I wanted to just give you an update. Axiom Verge, which we
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about last time,
Yeah.
it came out, and I started streaming it and playing it. And I don't know how far through the game I am, but I have to say it is amazing. Whoa, crackles. So I just wanted to thank you for the recommendation, and I love it. I think it's one of my favorite games of that genre that I've played in years, since Shadow Complex, easy.
Yeah, it's super good. Yeah, Shadow Complex. It's a shame that that company made Infinity Blade, and that Infinity Blade was so popular because they were going to make a sequel to Shadow Complex, and then Infinity Blade just exploded, and they've made 3 Infinity Blades and no new Shadow Complex. So,
Oh.
womp womp.
Yeah, where is Shadow Complex 2? God damn it.
I know. That game was great too. For anyone who wants a really overlooked Metroidvania, there you go. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Axiom Verge, it's pretty cool. I like it. I know a lot of people have been playing Ori and the Blind Forest, which I haven't played yet, but like when we're talking about polish, that game goes way beyond anything. Yeah. It looks wonderful, but I haven't played it yet.
Ori, Nori, Dory, and Melvin. Those are the hobbits, dwarves, right?
Yeah, and
Melvin the dwarf.
Game, and in the game, it's like the 3 Vikings, except it's 5 dwarfs, and you control 5 of them going through an environment, going through a blind forest in Metroidvania. 5 dwarf Metroidvania.
Is this real, or are you making this up?
No, I was making that up.
Oh, god damn it.
How coincidental would that be if that was real? Like, you brought up the dwarf comparison, and then know. It ended up being the actual game. No, Ori is like...
because it could be. I don't know.
No, Ori is like just this little creature, and it goes around this forest, and apparently it's super good, but I'll talk about it when I actually get to play it.
Okay, fair enough.
So, Greenlight guess?
Let us guess. Hang on a second. I got to do the thing. Greenlight guess.
Good. I think that was better than the first one. I might actually take the effort to cull that and use it for every Greenlight guess. That was better.
I'll give you a new one every week. I got plenty.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So, really quick Greenlight guess. I read off Greenlight descriptions to Vinny, and either they're real or they're fake, and he needs to guess if they're real or fake. Some of them are submitted by viewers, and those are the fake ones, or the real ones were pulled straight from Greenlight.
Yeah.
So that's the gist of it. This time, I do want to tell you I used a random number generator to decide if I'm doing fake or true next, so there's no bias. There's no pattern. It's just totally random, either true or fake from this list. Are you ready?
That sounds great. I am so ready for this.
Okay, first one. Join Equestria and choose your race, human or otherwise, to try to date all of the pony girls.
Oh, it's true. That's a real game.
That is actually fake. That was... it could totally be real, but that was submitted...
What's the name of the game?
He didn't come up with the name. It was just the description, but I don't know. Maybe it's called Equestria, I would think.
Okay. Because there is... Equestria, maybe not. I thought there was a game called Equestria, but never mind. There isn't. No. Fuck. All right.
Yep, that was submitted by @Pagigallo. So there you go. You are 0 for 1.
All right.
Next one. When the going... Wait, hang on. Let me read this correctly. When the Gyeong get rough, you can jerk your penis until you are happy again. It being your magical powers.
Oh, so real I can see this going 2 ways. Here's the thing: I can see this going to. I could see a game developer trying to like make that description,
right?
To like just have a go.
Talking about bad games, like we were talking about
on
earlier.
Purpose, like
yeah.
But I could also easily see that being someone from Vinesauce being like, you know what? Let's see if you can get this. So I don't know, but I am going to say that that's false.
You are correct. That is indeed false. That was also submitted by Pagigallo, which was good because the first one, you can tell he is trying a variety of things. First, he did something that made sense, but is likely to be on Greenlight because of the pony dating. And then he does the totally broken English bullshit that was that description. So he's trying to get you.
Yeah, I see. Good job.
All right, next one. Grab as many gems as possible before the crafty Wingle eats them all. Don't let him catch the red gem, or he'll take a bite out of you.
Let him catch the red gem. I'm going to say that's false.
That one's actually real. The game is called Gem Runners. I'm going to link you right here. This one I actually have a soft spot for because it kind of reminds me of Don't Catch Red Spheres from that video. That's what I thought of.
Right.
When I saw that. So that is a real game, Gem Runners. Don't catch red gems. Or the crafty Wingle. Eats them all.
Wingle.
Wingle.
I'm looking at the footage of this. It looks like something you might have made in Game Maker in 1999,
Yeah.
maybe 2004.
It looks like the
Yeah.
sample project that's bundled with game making engines like Unity
Yes.
and Game Maker. It looks like one of those sample project things. Although Unity's sample projects are pretty decent. It looks like Game Maker's sample project.
Yeah, it's a little rougher on the edges. Let's just say, and the video that they're capturing for the video on Greenlight, there's a lot of slowdown. Like there's visible like video stutter and horrible like lag.
Uh-huh.
And I'm wondering how a game that is probably playable on a TI-83 calculator is lagging so hard on a computer like this. But whatever. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very well optimized,
Mm-hmm.
Got to render them gems and the crafty Wingle.
Yeah. Well, Vingle is going to take fucking Wingle out back and put all Yeller down. Anyway.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
next one. Here comes the newest dating sim, where if you're denied her sex, she'll be dead next. This is a true innovative dating sim. Sorry, I stuttered a bit. Do you want to hear that again?
No, I got it.
If you're denied her sex, she'll be dead next. So you need to
You're-
make sure you succeed. Or do you think that's a real game or a fake game?
I hope it's not real. Oh my god. Oh, why can I see all of these stupid games being real? I'm going to say that's false.
You are correct. That is false. That was the final one that I have submitted by Pagagallo, which I just had them all chunked together.
Okay.
But you're right.
That was like a combination of the absurd and the real.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
All right, next one. A tale of knightly washing machine who goes on crusade against a false king who took the crown by chopping both old king and his knights to death.
oh god.
It's weird because if it wasn't for those two words, washing machine, it would be pretty standard. Like it's,
Yeah.
A guy going to get revenge against a king who took the
Yeah.
crown. But, it's a washing machine that goes on a crusade against
I
a
can
king.
see that. I think that's real.
That is real. You're right. I didn't think you'd
Yeah.
get that one, but very good. It's called Legend of Night Washer. Let me link you. This one actually was submitted by a viewer, but it was a real one.
I could see that being real because it's like one of those concepts that
Yeah.
people would laugh about, right? And therefore they gotta play it because it's
And-
like, wait, a washing machine.
Yeah, and when you're coming up with fake descriptions, that it's not along those lines. There's usually some angle behind it, and that angle is a little too imaginative to be fake, if you ask me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of interesting, but I have to be honest. The video on this page looks
Yeah.
good.
It sold me when I watched it. Like, it's actually, not only is it on Greenlight, but it was accepted. You'll see the banner at the top. People voted it in. You can actually purchase it at some point, if not already. I forget. It's called Legend of Night Washer.
I plan on checking this out when it comes out because it is hysterically ridiculous, and it looks really good graphically. I'm surprised how good it looks.
Yeah, it looks super good. Looks a lot better than Gem Runners. So it's got that going for it.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
next one. Challenge yourself and become the next best sausage taster. Travel cross country in the Wiener wagon and judge the world's greatest meat artists. Some say Sasagi is the world's best canvas, but will you judge correctly? But the wiener is leaky. Don't eat drippy wieners or you'll get food poisoning and have to retire. Can you be a good sausage professional? True. Is that real or fake?
It's gotta be fake. That's
You're
fake.
right. That's absolutely fake.
Let me guess. Bretto Top submitted it.
No.
Oh,
There-
okay.
That was submitted by Aiden B.
Okay.
Pretty good. Like, if it wasn't for the drippy wiener part, I think I think maybe it might have fooled you, but
Yes, it was the drippy wieners that went. I went from 60% sure it was real to like 30% sure after drippy wieners.
you mean 90%.
It was real.
Yeah.
So like 60% sure it was real down to like 30% sure it was real.
Oh, okay. That was real.
See what I'm
Okay.
doing?
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Imagine Alice in Wonderland and Silent Hill hooked up and had a baby, and then the baby got adopted by Lovecraft and raised on the board of Event Horizon during its virgin flight.
What?
Yeah,
You're gonna have to repeat that.
sure. Imagine Alice in Wonderland and Silent Hill hooked up and had a baby, and then the baby got adopted by Lovecraft and raised on the board of Event Horizon during its virgin flight. It has influences of all those horrific medias in it. But that's their pitch. Remember, if this is real, it's on their Greenlight page.
Right. That's why I'm not sure. Like, it sounds so ridiculous that it could be fake. It could be very fake because there's just too much in there. It's just too much. But
yeah, it's like when people get a mishmash of things, like it's like this and that, you know?
yeah, it's like. But I'm gonna say it's real.
It is real. You're doing very well today. It's called Antumbra 2. It's a sequel.
Wow.
It kind of reminds me a little bit from what I saw of the gameplay. It reminds me just vaguely of The King of Limbo.
Oh God. Yeah, that's bad. Let me see the video here.
Antumbra. Antumbra 2, actually, the sequel.
Chant of Ash. All right, let me see this video. It's a lot of full motion video, not enough gameplay. Okay, now the gameplay here is first person acid washed, weird, like impossible to look at for too long, otherwise your eyes explode type game.
Yeah.
I would not play this.
No, me neither. I thought it looked pretty terrible.
It's like, okay, you know when you first get Photoshop and you put filters on everything?
Yeah.
That's this. It's like someone took pictures and just put like the filter that makes everything like got sharp edges, like really sharp. Yeah, I wouldn't play this, but anyway, so it's real. Okay.
That is real. Yep. Antumbra 2. Erwin Lamore just got transferred to a prestigious military academy to study armored warfare. But when he arrives, Erwin realizes it's not tank school, but, quote, tank school for World War II main battle tanks, who happen to look just like Japanese schoolgirls. Will he win the heart of the tank girls or end up as cannon fodder? Only you can decide in Panzer Model's Tank Dating Simulator.
No. No. Oh, it got so much worse. It got worse. How?
Panzer Model's Tank Dating Simulator.
That's not true.
You think it's fake?
I think it's a fake game.
That is actually true. That is real. It's called Panzer Model's Tank Dating Simulator. And actually, Carrie pointed out to me when I was compiling the list that Panzer Mädels in German, Panzer I think means tank and Mädels means maiden. So like Tank Maiden is the title, Tank Dating Simulator. And you can see from the trailer how shit-tastic it looks. Very
it's just weird footage of like World War II, like the tanks, right? It's like, just to describe to the listeners, there's like old footage of tanks, and there's a Tiger tank, I believe is German tank, the Tiger, I think. Anyway, could be wrong, but it says Tiger J in bright like anime letters. And then to the right is like an anime schoolgirl looking very demure. Mm-hmm. Like the tank rejected her. I don't know what the gameplay is. I just know that it's showcasing various tanks and Panzer like tanks with lollies and animes. Oh, I just
it is
okay.
So
here's
bad.
an example of the okay. Listen. This is real. This is real dialogue from the game. Right. Who needs European homogeny and the Crimea anyways?
Or there's one that says, "Hang on, I need to get my armored skirt."
Right. Yeah, there's that.
In one of the screenshots. And they refer to each other like, "Hey there, T-34. Like, how are you today?" Like, they call each other by their tank models. Oh my.
Oh, I didn't want to be wrong about that one.
Yep. Yeah, it's a sad world we live in. All right. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Mold on Pizza is a mold-growing game to fight against the preservative troops and win pizza. Meet 52 kinds of characterful molds and preservatives.
No, that's not fair. That's not real.
That is also real, unfortunately. It is called Mold on Pizza. You can get it on your phone right now if you want, but here it is on Steam Greenlight. Mold on Pizza. It's the first game I can think of where you control mold.
Which brings us back to the blue cheese we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting.
Mold on Pizza.
The game is very cartoony. It's got a very mobile game type style, and you play as cute little molds with happy faces that fuck up other molds. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, and I think they could have done a better title. Like Mold on Pizza. When I see Mold on Pizza in the App Store, I don't want to buy it. Like, what could they have called it differently? Mold on
blue cheese. They
Yeah.
could have called it just like a pun on the word mold,
Yeah.
like mold battle or something. Like
Game of Mold. Game of Molds would have been a better title.
yeah, there could have been something like
Yeah.
that, or like World of Goo, right? So like World of Mold.
Yeah. Totally. I would buy that, maybe.
I don't know. I see broccoli on some of these pizzas. Just saying.
Do you like broccoli and pizza?
I like broccoli and I like pizza.
Okay. But what
Just
about
not together?
Well, it's good on white pizza. It's like a staple on white pizza, pretty much.
Yeah, that's different. But like I'm talking like pizza.
Well, who
not
gets
like fake.
broccoli on like a normal pizza? That's stupid.
Someone, because it's drawn here in this game.
That's
So-
just really terrible game design. Okay.
Right. It's not about you
It's
having a
not
terrible
immersive.
taste in. Right, like the person obviously doesn't like shitty pizza. It's just they don't know how to make a game.
Yeah, I mean, that is just really shitty game design. Like, why would they put broccoli on a normal pizza? Do they not eat pizza? Have they ever tried to order broccoli on pizza and see what happens?
Hitler gets a new testicle every time you eat broccoli on pizza. But
So unrealistic and so unimmersive. What a shitty game.
it's worst game 0 out of 10. No broccoli on pizza. Anyway,
All right. Dreamcase is a horror first person seemingly without a plot, but is not so simple. You are in a dream killer in which you have to face all his crimes. Your task is to get out of sleep.
to get out of sleep.
Yep.
That sounds repugnant. How terrible this game sounds. It's just it's not. It's true. It's a real game.
Yeah, you're right. It's called Dreamcase. It's no longer Greenlight, but I got the Cached page, so I'm gonna link that to you. I don't know. Looks kind of dull. Like you're walking down a staircase and screen gets glitchy. I think if that's the trailer I'm thinking of, I might be thinking of a different one.
Let's see.
Let me see what it says. Yeah, with the staircase.
You
But-
can dream kill anytime you want.
Does it say that?
No, it says your dream can kill you at any time.
Oh, okay. Look at the game features list. I almost included this in the description, but the game features list is pretty funny. Why don't you read them off to me?
Okay. Well, I'm looking. Yeah, you're literally going down dark stairs. Opacity is up maybe to 10%. You can barely see anything in the gameplay, and then the screen glitches, and then the trailer ends. That's it.
Yep.
Game features. Supports Oculus Rift.
Okay.
Support for 4K resolution. There's no support for 4K textures. There's no textures.
Yeah, hardly
I
any.
can't see any textures. It's like if there maybe a few, but everything's black. Supports any gamepad, thank God.
Yeah.
Many puzzles.
Many puzzles.
A randomly generated screamer. Other interesting locations.
Like it introduced any locations in the first place.
Interaction with all objects. Oh.
Yeah.
And next gen graphics. And yet when you look at the screenshots or the trailer, it's literally
It's
just
just
a
black.
staircase, black and Guys, you got to see this. I'm telling you, go to Steam and type Dreamcase and look at the screenshots for this game.
Well,
It
like I
is-
said, it's not on Greenlight anymore because I had to find a Cached page. It was actually
Oh.
taken off at some point for who knows what reason. Spooky.
dude, it's so bad. I wish they could see this right now.
Yeah. I really liked the feature, a randomly generated screamer. Like, imagine the game is 3 hours long, and at some point there's going to be one screamer, and you just don't know when it's going to be. It's a randomly generated screamer.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, that would make me jump.
This game maybe, should not be on Greenlight, so maybe they did a good job
Nope.
removing it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see, where am I? Can you tell which toilet is cleaner? Walk into the toilet zone and guess which toilet has the least yucky germs. Choose the wrong toilet and you'll become a ferocious feces fiend like the rest of them. Choose correct and get the best bathroom experience of your life.
No.
You are correct. That is fake. That was made by Aiden B as well.
Because, that sounds sadly like it could be real, but, just something about that was just too weird, even for a video game.
Here are the totals so far. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right out of 11 so far. So you're doing pretty well. Yeah, I'm impressed. You're getting better. All right, next one. 12 children armed with hockey sticks, dodgeballs, and soccer cleats run a secret underground fight club, battling each other for the rights to play on the jungle gym. Half fighter, half stealth game. Your ultimate goal is victory. Just don't let the principal see you punch the fat bully in the balls.
I was like, what do you mean stealth? And now I get it. Because you have to avoid the principal.
Yeah, don't let him see you punch the fat bully in the balls.
God. I'm going to say that's real.
That is fake.
No!
That was submitted by, on Twitter, Batiro A Train.
Okay. It's good, but
Yeah.
it sounds like it could be real.
Yeah, a lot of these do, and it's weird. The real ones sound like they could be fake, and the fake ones sound like they could be real. It all just blends. And
That's why this game is so good.
I was
and
so worried
awful.
that this segment, like when I came up with the idea for this segment, or stole it from Edumacation, kind of, but half these segments are stolen. I was worried that it would get too easy, but man, you can probably attest, it is not easy at all.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really difficult to get these right.
Next one. In this game, you play as a bear who is fueled by citrus soda and cheesy junk food on a quest to save your town.
Oh my god, it's too vague. It's too difficult to determine whether or not it's real or fake. I'm gonna say it's fake.
You are correct. That is fake. That was submitted by @ArmedReconBot on Twitter. Yeah, and I agree. That one was a little bit, I don't know, because like if they wanted to pitch you that game, they would have included at least like a name of your town or something. So, not impressed. Armed Recon Bot. But yeah, you got that right. That was absolutely a fake game. Next one. Frozen Olaf gives you a snow job.
No. No. It's not real. It's not real.
You're right. It is fake. That was. You can guess who submitted this one.
Bread on top.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Frozen Olaf, give daddy cummies.
Gives daddy the cummies. Which I think was a typo. I think it was supposed to be gummies, she said.
Okay.
But it came out cummies, and she just ran with it, and it was perfect. Like, that's what we got the most tweets about after that episode, like, on our Twitter, which is @2onthevine, which you should all follow.
Yes.
Number 2. I got so many tweets about how everyone cracked up at Frozen Olaf gives daddy the cummies, or whatever it was. Oh, my God. Like, how is such a sentence uttered on this planet?
It is so fucking funny, and my reaction there can attest to that. So I don't even know what it means. Honestly, I can't even think about what it means, but I don't need to because the words themselves are just too funny.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's see. All right, this one's short and sweet. You ready?
Yeah.
5 Nights at Fuckboys.
It's real.
That is real. Hey, did you know that one? You knew
I
that
knew
right
that
away.
one.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. You could make up a 5 Nights like title, like try to make one up and have it end up being real. Like that's how common the 5 Nights at Freddy's ripoffs are.
I know. Yeah, there's a lot of them now, but this one in particular, there was a lot of recommendations that I played.
Really? Oh, I wasn't aware. Otherwise, I would have left it out. All right. Did I skip one? Oh well. So next one. Fatal Fight, Death Fight. This is the story of a brutal fight. Can you murder the opponent in under 70 seconds? Features a story mode featuring protagonist John Fighter. 5 stages, including ship, storage, hangar, forest, and factory. A secret enemy.
Oh man, I was gonna say that sounds really, really real. Except when you said John Fighter. John Fighter almost threw it all away. However, I'm still gonna say that that's real.
That is fake.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, really well done. That was at Cold Beverage on Twitter. Submitted that one, which is, I think that one was very finely crafted to match the how inane these Greenlight entries are, how inane some of these real ones are that are on Greenlight.
It's insane to me that would even be potentially real, but it could be. Just John Fighter almost gave it away.
Fighter.
As you can tell, I still went for it. So good job.
Yeah. All right. After waking up in a strange place, sorry, Han. After waking up in a strange place, John Mustache, a tough police officer, must make a strange agreement with the Grim Reaper and help him rescue 5 relics of power in the hands of creatures from hell. I did not plan on these two being back to back, but
yeah,
they are.
Okay.
So, first John Fighter, now John Mustache.
I'm gonna have to. Oh God, it could be real. It could be real. Since I went with real last time, with the dopey name, I'm gonna go with fake this time for this dopey name.
This is true. It's a real one, actually.
Oh,
it's so
God damn
funny
it.
that a fake one suggested John Fighter and then a real one featuring John Mustache made the list. Like, I thought that was hilarious. That's very good. This one is called, I forget what it's called, but there's a link.
Okay.
It's called Mustache in Hell. This one doesn't look horrible, but it doesn't really look good.
Well, it
Kind of reminds me of Nuclear Throne a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's got like the style also reminds me of Realm of the Mad God slightly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
But a little bit less detailed, a little shittier. But the
shittier.
gameplay looks more Nuclear Throne. Yeah, it looks like it lacks a lot of polish, and the main character does indeed have a mustache.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sweet portrait, at least. The icon.
And the word grenade is spelled
Granada.
Granade.
Yeah. That's good. All right. Final one.
Okay.
Get ready for an epic adventure with an emo cat assassin Murtair of the Red Dot Order. A proud
How is I need to interrupt you. How is the word for spelled? Get ready for?
It's fur, F-U-R. I'll read it again.
All right, go ahead.
Get ready for an epic adventure with an emo cat assassin Murtair of the Red Dot Order. A proud Claricat Francat of the Great Bowl of Goodness Temple and the one and only chosen cat.
I don't know what the fuck you just said.
I know.
It's
so
real.
painful. It is real. You are right. Sadly enough, that is a game. You ready for this? It's called The Chronicles of Nean.
Nyan, like Nyan Cat?
Yes, exactly, like Nyan Cat. And, okay, so I want to do something with this, like a mini segment. There is a trailer. It's kind of like a movie trailer. Don't watch it yet. This needs to be fresh. There's music, and it shows some... it's very dialogue-driven. There's, the black background, white text narration describing what's happening, and then there's the character dialogue. Let's read this like a movie trailer. I want you to be the voice of the cats, all the characters making their dialogue, and I'll do the deep voice narrator guy. Because it's a movie.
You want me to leave the volume on then?
Yeah. I mean, it sets the mood. It will prep your acting, and I'll leave the volume on so they can hear it, and it'll be a few minutes, but it'll be like a movie trailer for you guys for the Chronicles of Nean.
Okay, and just you want me to read the dialogue that's written?
I will read the white text on black background,
gotcha.
the narrating parts. You read the character dialogue.
Gotcha.
Let me just check volume on this real quick. Okay, I think that's good. All right, we'll see how it turns out. You ready?
Yep.
She was an ordinary little kitten. Oh, wait, I need to actually tell you to hit start. Sorry, let's start over, and I'll tell you to hit play so we're synced. Okay? You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, play. She was an ordinary little kitten.
Hello, world.
She lived in an ordinary little cardboard town of Catshire.
It's RPG Maker. God damn it.
Her sister was a bride.
So excited for my wedding. I hope nothing will ruin this beautiful day. Can you please pick up the flowers for my wedding?
Her father was a bun shepherd.
Those buns grow like weed. Soon we can cut their crumble and make sweaters out of it. Bun.
Her best friend was a weirdo.
Our special agent Bully the Bun is missing. You have to find him at all costs, Rainbow 3. Rainbow?
But one day, she went to pick flowers.
Forgot my basket.
And she forgot how to ordinary.
Oh my gosh!
Due to post-traumatic stress disorder.
So the death of cats shall harvest me today. But, Bun!
She was ordinary no more.
And now she's mad. There's still like a minute and a half of this. God damn it. Oh.
She became an emo assassin.
Master, I wish to inflict pain because the trauma caused by the burning of my home village has left a deep and bloody wound in my psyche, resulting in an inability to love and lust for the redirecting my life's energies in an evil and destructive way. Which emphasizes the emptiness sweeping over my wounded soul. My delicate body shudders. I am a dark avenger of hatred, as I am the kitty who never forgives. Forgives. F-U-R gives. Fuck!
Accompanied by a hippocricat clericat.
Hello, my name is Plain Cat, the clericat.
She has to face her destiny in an epic quest to find the chosen cat.
We have to find the chosen cat.
And she has to save the world of Neania.
And probably save the world in the process. I'm so excited.
And save the buns.
Be free, wild bun. Wild milk bun. Be free.
From monsters such as poltercats. Oh, no, you go ahead.
Cat orcs. Mermies. You do the other. Do whatever's next.
And the most bloodthirsty of all, the furniture. Army.
Oh.
Will she succeed in stopping the apocalypse, or will it all end in a catastrophe?
Fuck off with this game.
The
Chronicles of Nean.
Of Neania.
Yeah.
Coming soon to IMAX.
Please, God, no. We Has Greenlit is the name of their first post there.
Yeah, this game has been greenlit by the community. You will be able to purchase this. Maybe they'll use our trailer. Maybe they'll put this audio over. They'll substitute it with our audio instead of what the trailer was.
Including me being like, you read that part.
Yeah, you read. Yep. Well, that was fun. Aren't you glad I made you do that?
Fun is a subjective word.
Yeah, it's very subjective. Are you ready for your score?
Yeah.
Out of 18, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 11 out of 18.
That's better than usual.
Yeah, that might be... Well, I'm not sure if it was your highest. I remember a few episodes back you getting a pretty high score, but, you know, I'm not keeping tabs. Fuck that.
It's one of my best, for sure. So...
Yeah, very good job. Yeah,
that's right.
That's Greenlight Guess. If you guys want to submit your own Greenlight guesses for Vinny to try to stump Vinny with, then you can do that on Twitter. Just use hashtag Greenlight Guess.
2 on the Vine. Oh.
You could do hashtag 2 on the Vine as well, but it wouldn't help. Just hashtag Greenlight Guess. Please use a paste bin because it makes my job easier. If you use a screenshot of your text, that's annoying. But Pastebin, please, and try to only submit fake ones. I'll find the real ones. But if you find a really good real one, then I guess you could send that too. Hashtag Greenlight Guess. That's all you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not hashtag 2 on the Vine, but that's okay too, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun episode.
Yeah, I have a few just announcements.
Mm-hmm.
So Too Many Games is coming up.
Right.
Which is, we've talked about this, the convention that KY and I will both be at. And it is a convention in just outside Philadelphia. And you can go to toomanygames.com. The thing is, we're doing a panel. This is new. There's going to be a panel. I was asked to do a Q&A. I don't know what the panel is going to be like. I just imagine just a bunch of us just dicking around and talking. And I just put in an order for kazoos, 250 more kazoos. God help me. So I'll be swimming in kazoos soon enough. But yeah, Too Many Games will be there. I'll be there all 3 days. KY should be there all 3 days too. I don't see why not. And a lot of people are coming. But I just want to say, if anyone's interested and you do want to go, there's a sign-up link I want to give you, because I could win a Neo Geo, which I will stream, or
sweet.
subsequently break with a hammer. One of the two. I'm not sure yet. But go to toomanygames.com/gamer/vinesauce. And if you go there and sign up through that link, it actually counts for me to potentially win this Neo Geo. So it's cool. I wouldn't mind it. But regardless of whether or not you do, if you make it there, we'll have some stuff to sign, and we'll talk and hang out, and it should be a really good time, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a cool convention. Check out the website and see for yourself.
Yeah, if you're lucky, there will be some 2 on the Vine swag, like mini prints, which will probably
we're
just
looking into that.
Be like $1, maybe.
I'm selling crackles. If anyone wants a crackle for my microphone, I'll be selling those. Those are 50 cents.
Some cheddar cheese on that crackle.
Cheddar cheese and crackle blue cheese. But the thing is, yeah, if we do like a postcard type print, we'll sign it and stuff, and that'll probably just be $1 just to recoup the cost of a few things. But we'll keep it as cheap as possible, and I'll be giving out free kazoos and free buttons. And regardless of all that, it's just going to be fun to hang out and talk. And I really had a great time at PAX meeting people, and that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
So we're going for you guys.
Is this the most
come on by
you've ever spent on kazoos in your life?
Yes.
Wow.
I will tell you how much I spent on the kazoos, because when I got them printed the first time, there was a $60 print cost for they had to create the die, so to speak, so they could press the kazoo.
Wow.
So that was an extra $60 on top of $120. So that was, for 125 kazoos, I spent about 180. And this time I spent a little bit over 180, and I got 250 instead.
Wow.
So it worked out, but now I have enough kazoos to go around for quite a while. So I'm happy about that.
So when you're crying at night, how long does it take for you to fall asleep?
I don't fall asleep.
You just cry.
Yeah.
Until the sunrise. Blue cheese crumbles
Sadly.
on my hoagie. Blue cheese crumbles on my hoagie, man.
Hoagie, man. That sounds like a new IP for Nintendo. All right.
All right. I think that about wraps up this episode. Is there anything else that you wanted to say?
I just wanted to say that I'm just happy to be alive. It's a great day to be alive for me, on behalf of Olaf, his frozen cummies, and KY. I enjoyed this podcast, and I hope you did too. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check in next week when we're not here.
Yeah.
And then maybe in a few weeks you'll get another podcast. So
yeah,
there you go.
We're working on trying to get more consistent. It was funny. I mentioned last episode that we were going to shoot for more regular every 2 weeks, and then this is the latest episode to date. So much for that.
I will say this though. I've been in the studio, just on my defense, which is, I'm sure you don't mind because we've both been busy, but I have been making music, and the album that Mike and I and our producer in the studio is working on is about 30% complete. So I've been there a lot. I've been there like maybe 2-3 days a week, maybe more sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't really had the time on top of streaming, but here we are now, and we'll try to shit these out as best we can. And also, I've been doing the Mario Brothers X contest, and I want to just thank everyone that made levels for that. If anyone's listening, thank you. It was a lot of fun. By the time you hear this, the contest will probably be over. So congrats to the winner. Insert name here. And I definitely appreciate you guys sticking around. Keep checking our Twitter, our website, vinesauce.com, and the forums if you want information about our charity stream, of which we now have an art contest. So go to the Vinesauce forums and look for that. And we'll be talking more about the charity stream and about Too Many Games on our next podcast, I would assume.
Yeah. So if someone wants to contact us for listeners' mail, how would they do that?
Well, they would go to 2onthevine@gmail.com, but the 2 is with a number 2.
Almost. One of these days, it's 2onthevinecast@gmail.com.
2onthevinecats at gmail.com.
At neanya.com.
.yan.
Nean. And you can tweet us at 2onthevine. Again, the number 2 on the Vine. And of course, you can find our YouTubes and Twitters and stuff. You know where those are. So, all right. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.